Hey, what's up guys? It's Jake, aka Tag, coming at you with a new video. In this video, we're going to be going over a really solid Grand Challenge deck that I've been able to get 12 1s, 12 O's pretty consistently with. It's Rebel's old Zap Bait deck, and I took out the Dark Goblin with the and replaced it with the Ice Spirit. The Dark Goblin now is not performing extremely well, and the Ice Spirit just allows the deck to cycle really fast back to that rocket and just everything else. Usually it would be a pretty difficult matchup against like really fast Hog Cycle decks, but now the Ice Spirit allows you to keep up with the Hog Cycle, and also Rocket is now, to finish off the game, you're able to cycle back to that rocket, which is really key. It's pretty awesome. The deck hasn't really changed that much. Just the absence of the Dark Goblin provides a little bit harder defensive against Graveyard, but this definitely helps with the Hog Rider and Golem matchups. For example, when they're going to be dropping minions, prediction minions at the bridge to counter your Inferno Tower, if you save your Ice Spirit for that, you're able to actually just decimate all the minions. So that's another thing that I really like. In conjunction with sometimes if you don't even have your Inferno in cycle, or if you're playing against like a Hog Rider Giant deck, you can use your Ice Spirit and Knight in conjunction to mitigate most of the damage done by the Hog Rider. So this deck is like really solid in almost every avenue. I even like it a little bit more against Lava Loon, because you're able to hold the Balloon and the Lava Hound in place if you have a really nice Ice Spirit, and yeah, it just functions really well. Usually a little bit better than the Dark Goblin. So I got a 12-0 with this deck. Can show you the battle log really quick. Pretty easy games, honestly. And here's some against graveyards, some against giants, all the good stuff right there. Yeah. So let's go open up the chest and see what we get first off. I mean, you guys already know, like, I always get Sparkies, so I would be beyond enthused if I were to pull a graveyard from here, but it's not likely. I doubt it, guys. We got some rockets. None of these cards actually matter to me because I'm grinding challenges and most of my cards are already maxed. So we get a bowler. That epic sound doesn't really matter. We're only caring about legendaries. Let's go through it. We need a lot of epics right here, but I don't think so. Yeah, we didn't fulfill our common quota, and now the rest of these are gonna be epics. I get clones, which I'm not disappointed in. I mean, I don't have it maxed, so it's whatever. But I never get any good legendaries out of there, as per usual, Sparky in the shop. But enough of that. Let's get into our games. So, the first game I wanted to review with you guys was against a Golem player. And let's just hop into it, and I'll give you a step-by-step of how I played the game. So, hopping right into it, we have Goblin Barrel, Ice Spirit, Knight, and Rocket. With this deck, you always want to be cycling Goblin Barrel at the start, and hopefully they don't have Log or something, like maybe he just doesn't have Log, and he takes a lot of damage. Usually, like, the Goblin Barrel at the start is going to do a ton of damage if they just don't have their cycle ready. In a normal match, like, midway through, they should always have adjusted their cycle to trying to deal with your Goblin Barrel. Alright, let's turn the volume down a little bit. Yeah. So he drops E-Barbs at the bridge. This deck has a pretty nice counter to E-Barbs with Knight. If you drop the Knight in the middle, both towers will shoot at it. E-Barbs really just aren't an issue. It's kind of nice having Knight in almost all my decks because just E-Barbs just don't do anything. Right now I cycled I cycled the Gang at the bridge, and I saw that he had to respond with the Zap, and that just tells me he's either running a really weird deck or he's running like he doesn't have a Log. I just don't think this guy has a Log, so I know that I can reliably let my Goblin Barrel just do a significant amount of tower damage every single time. If he wants to zap it, I'm still getting damage. So right now, my Princess is right there. I'm trying to bait out if he does actually have a Log or something. I'm trying to make him decide on which which side he wants to commit to. Trying to keep that princess alive as much as possible, whether it's with an ice spirit or log. You want to be holding something in case they respond, or in case they drop something, and see if you can keep that princess alive. With this Zap Bait deck, it's not just about having the princess do a lot of damage, it's like trying to keep it alive, so making your opponent continuously waste elixir. And right now, with this deck, whenever you're playing against a Golem deck or anything that has pumps, you always want to be consistently rocketing their pumps. And you want to try to just keep the pressure up. Don't let him really get the advantage, or get enough elixir to drop a huge Golem push. Right now, you guys can see me, I'm taking out his princess, I'm taking out all of his other units, and trying to get a lot of damage done right now. I saw that his tower is relatively low, and I know that right now it's even rocket range. 493 is rocket range, and like right now I can even start focusing on the other side if I so choose to. Rocketing the E-barbs because I know that I just have to defend my virginity. I can't let him touch that tower. Basically, and I just don't see him pushing through with 6 elixir left and 20 seconds left. He's pretty angry. With this deck against Golem, you want to try to get all your damage down to 4 double elixir, and you just want to continuously deny the pumps. Before, when you had Dark Goblin, it was really hard to cycle to the rockets if you got a really bad starting hand. And of course, we're hitting this guy up with a well played because he drops E-barbs at the bridge the entire time. You gotta respect that, man. But you're able to cycle back to the rockets, so I never actually let him get a pump down, ever. And you really shouldn't. But if they do end up getting a pump down, don't rocket like a pump that's already getting them elixir. Like a full health pump is the only time you want to rocket it. Just save your rocket for the next pump. If you do somehow get rocket last possible card, and then they get it, and then they pump down immediately. So you should be fine, though. You should be fine. So let's hop into a Hog Rider game, the next game. See what this guy's running. I don't remember this game correctly. Or, I don't remember it, the entirety of it. But this jungle music is a little bit changed. I don't remember it like that. Let me know if you guys remember that jungle music, or if I'm just hearing things. So we drop our gang because we don't actually have our barrel, which is generally the most optimal play. So we cycle knight, and this guy goes balls to the walls, drops a bomber and a mini P.E.K.K.A opposite side. Kind of scary. So right now you guys are gonna see, oh Jake, you have a terrible hand. I did have a terrible hand. If you guys have just a god-awful hand and you have to rocket a Hog Rider for that negative trade, don't be afraid to do it. It's -2 trade, but it's so worth it because he didn't take my tower. He didn't do significant damage. I'll take those trades and I'll play defensively until I recruit my elixir. Alright, so just clearing the board. We know that he's playing extremely offensively with all his cards, and I hit 10, I dropped a Goblin Barrel. I didn't really want to be too aggressive with this guy, so I waited until I hit 10 elixir before dropping anything, because he's dropping things at the bridge all the time. In GCs, if you guys are playing too aggressively against people that are dropping things at the bridge the entire game, you're going to be running into some chaotic games, and it's going to be really hard to control those. If you guys want to always get 12 wins, or as close to 12 as possible, you want to be playing controlled games that you can predictably know all the interactions, and just never let your opponent just have any chance of taking control of the game or doing any damage to your tower. So I wouldn't be surprised if I don't play anything until 10 again here. I'm leaking a little bit right here, but I saw that he had arrows, I saw that he had Skarmy, and I saw that he had Log. So that's going to be a really tough matchup for decks like this. If he gives me anything near his tower, I'm going to rocket it every time, because I saw that nothing else is really rocketable in his deck. So for that 3 elixir, I can definitely justify rocketing those archers. Rocketing archers in single elixir is generally not a good idea until you know what type of deck they're running, but in double elixir, when you know what card cycle they're having, if there's anything else to rocket, you can definitely justify it. So right now, guys, he's at 613 HP on his tower. I can literally just try to get a princess hit and bait out a log right here. Try to get my princess to tower, get it a hit, hopefully defending it with my log, and then just taking the game. And I do take the game there. I played it super controlled, had no fear the entire game. It was pretty easy. I think Hog Rider with this deck is an extremely easy matchup. I just wanted to show you guys how to play it, and don't be afraid. The biggest takeaway from this game, play games controlled when people are dropping things at the bridge, and if you have to make elixir inefficient trades to defend your tower, like rocketing a Hog Rider, don't be afraid to do it. Also, another thing that you could take away from it, I noticed that he had, this is actually a tough matchup even though he was running Hog Rider. He had Log, Skarmy, which can be placed in the back of the tower to kill all the goblins in the Goblin Barrel, and then he also had arrows. So he effectively had 3 ways to counter my Goblin Barrel. So I realized very late in the game that, or like in Double Elixir, that it was imperative for me to be making rockets on his tower to actually break through. And I did that, and that's how I took the game. I think we're going to hop into this game. Let's hop into here. I think this was showed a few things as well. So right now, this is obviously a very odd deck, but you guys are going to see how to actually counter Goblin Barrel and what I do against Giant in one game. So I just figured we should condense them both, right? So we see a witch. In single elixir, the only things worth rocketing are things that are like 5, 6 elixir, like a Sparky, a witch, something that, or a pump, or something that you know like you're gonna get your value back. I dropped my spear goblins right there because I want to keep my princess alive. I didn't actually keep it alive because he zapped it, but we did a significant amount of damage to those barbs and they didn't do anything. Since I saw zap, I just fired off my Goblin Barrel. Didn't really want to give him a chance to cycle to anything else. He drops a princess. At this point, I was just thinking maybe this is like a hog deck, or I really wasn't quite sure what this guy was running. And I see a giant, so I'm going to be dropping my Inferno in the middle every single time. And at this point, I was just kind of flabbergasted after seeing a giant that he would actually have Goblin Barrel. But this man is a savage, so there's always that. Dropping our princess at the bridge because we're trying to bait out any log that he might have, so then my Goblin Barrel is able to accrue value. Also, a really cool tip, when you have your Inferno Tower still on the map, if you drop your princess at the bridge, if they don't use a spell like Log or something, their unit's going to go directly into that Inferno Tower. So that's going to be really key. Whenever I have an Inferno already on the map, I'm trying to get value out of it by dropping my princess at the bridge. It's really nice bait. So this guy drops his witch again, obviously a great rocket value. Not even going to complain. Pretty easy. Right now, I actually was a little bit low on elixir. I realized I might have overextended a little bit with that princess at the bridge. I should have had a little bit more of elixir when I dropped it, but I'm going for it again because he doesn't actually have anything in cycle to punish me. And he drops a princess on the bridge that locks onto Inferno. Definitely a misplay, but it's whatever. I think at this point I was pretty confident that I had the right tower locked up because it was rocket range. I wouldn't be surprised if I drop a Goblin Barrel on the left side. When you have a tower in rocket range, with Zap Bait, I usually don't finish it off because maybe he's going to give me rocket value. I think I'll probably rocket this giant, honestly. But you guys can see I went for the left side first. Same thing with Graveyard, same thing with Hog Rider. You don't want to have the King Tower shooting at you when you're dropping like a Goblin Barrel or Graveyard or anything. Just wait until the last possible moment to rocket, or wait until they give you value, honestly. I usually don't screw around with it that much. But I knew this game was... He could have taken my right tower. I just wanted to get as much damage as I possibly could have on the left. So that was a pretty easy game, but there's a lot to take away from it, I think. Alright, let's hop into another game. I think this is a Zap Bait versus Zap Bait. This should be a pretty cool game as well. Alright. This is, I think this deck's actually being pretty popular. Here's a guy pretty late in the challenge. I think this is my 12th win, or 10th win, and he was running the exact same deck as me. I have log in my hand, which is really nice. If you don't have log in your hand and the other person goblin barrels, it's kind of a rough time. He has Skarmy, so that's also not something I'm too enthusiastic about. But as you guys can see, I'm keeping my princess alive with that gang. It was really nice keeping that princess alive because now we're 5-5, and I'm continuously keeping that princess alive. He's got to dedicate a lot of elixir to clean up something that he just doesn't want to have to deal with. Princess versus princess right here. I should have dropped my ice spirit first, and if I kept that alive, the game would have actually just been over there. Because there's honestly like no way after 2 princesses that he had to expend elixir to defend that he would be able to win this game for sure. But it's pretty even right now. I'd say I'm up a little, but I could have been up a lot more. If you keep your princesses alive, it's key in this matchup. I'm dropping my goblin barrel in front of the tower because if he logs a little bit late, it will give me a little bit more time to get hits. Also, if you goblin barrel in front and then log and then he Skarmies, you're gonna kill all the Skarmy, and then your goblin barrel will just go ham on the tower. I didn't have log there, but I'm putting fear into his mind right now. So I rocket that knight because it's actually really hard to get. Yeah. This is the biggest mistake I had in the game. Shouldn't have logged the princess. I should have just dropped knight or goblin gang. But yeah, I took some damage. I was up a lot because I played really well at the start. But if you're up on elixir and you can get any rocket damage on their if they place anything near their tower, I would just rocket it in this mirror matchup for sure. It functions a little bit differently than like a lot of other matchups. Like if you rocket some like 3 elixir knight and they're actually playing like a giant deck or something or a graveyard deck early on, you could just lose the game right there. But Zappate, it's actually really hard to get tower damage on each other because you're gonna have goblin gang to defend the tower, and you're also gonna have log to defend that tower. So your goblin barrels aren't actually supposed to do much damage. So I think my ice spirit does defend my princess right there. Huge advantage for me by doing that. I see he uses his log. I capitalize with my goblin barrel. If you see they use their log, you don't actually want a goblin barrel in front. If you don't have log yourself, or I didn't use log for whatever reason. I guess I knew his Skarmy was out of cycle, but usually I probably should have just put that directly on the tower. And right now, I just know that it's just rocketable, honestly. I can rocket and just get a princess hit and a log. If I get a rocket, princess hit, and log, I'm fine. Or if he doesn't defend this barrel, which I'm pretty sure he does. I knew he had Skarmy in cycle, so I was going for the... I actually never went for that prediction log the entirety of the match, and I knew I could get away with it. Or I knew that he might actually try to think he could get away with the Skarmy, so it worked out pretty... It could have worked out a lot better, but I just went for it. And I'm just going to take that game with the final log and rocket. I played that pretty well, except for that one overextension. But this is mostly about keeping your princesses alive. I never actually placed my princess in the back, or in the on the bridge, which is a huge common mistake. And in mirror matchups with Zappate versus Zappate, don't actually be afraid to rocket a knight or a princess on your opponent's tower, because it's actually really hard to get damage through because your goblin barrel is definitely going to be nullified. So for placements, I'll just actually hop into a training match just to show you guys the placement of Skarmy or Goblin Gang when they're hopefully I get Goblin Gang. Alright, so say I drop a Goblin Barrel like right on tower. I would then drop, or if he dropped a Goblin Gang or a Goblin Barrel on my tower, I'd drop Goblin Gang on the right there, and it would actually conform to all 3 skeletons, and sometimes the left skeleton would get a hit, or the goblin would get a hit, but usually I'll just defend everything. When you're playing with Skarmy, you want to drop Skarmy in the back, and it'll actually clean up all the goblin barrel, or all the goblins from the goblin barrel. But for Goblin Gang, you place it on the right here. That's what I do. Or left on this side, but right on the other side. Just the outside, for me at least. That's what I've been doing. It's been denying a lot of hits, and it's been very helpful for me. Alright guys, so thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a pretty easy 12. I highly recommend this deck for you guys. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, guys.